Hello, I'm John Reisman, and this is Centrist News and Perspectives, where we focus on evidence, reason, and logic. Donald Trump has been saying lately that actually we're going to possibly be out of this in just a couple of weeks. We're hitting the peak. And the problem with that is he doesn't know that. And there was only one model that showed that that might be the case, and that seems to have been a very conservative model. In fact, I think they were using those base numbers out of China, but China was very strict in their social distancing, and America was not, because Donald continued to say, it's okay, it'll go away. And so it spread very, very fast throughout American society. So the idea that it might be gone in a couple of weeks, not so sure that's valid, even though some numbers might indicate that, as we're hearing about. Is it true? So let's take a look at a couple of charts. So what you're seeing here is the case count in New York and New Jersey, the tall and the one right next to it. So the tall one is 30,841 cases, and that was on March 25th. Now you can also see New Jersey there, which is 3,472. On April 1st, we went from 30,841 cases all the way up to 83,948 cases in New York. That 3,042 down in New Jersey, that jumped right up to 17,043 cases. So we're not really seeing the slowdown in the expansion rate of the numbers, because these are very large jumps. You can see that, for example, New York more than doubled in just a week, easily. And New Jersey did the same thing, in fact, tripled. So we're not really seeing that slowdown we're hearing about, but we want to get a better picture of this. So let's take a look a little bit deeper. If we remove New York and New Jersey from the data, can we see more hotspots developing in America? And let's walk through the last 3 weeks. And what you can see here is that California, Florida, Illinois, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Washington State all had some pretty decent spikes moving in there. Now, if we go to the next week, which is March 31st, we can see that the numbers have increased. For example, we've seen California go from 2,500 cases to 8,200 cases. We can see Florida went from 1,400 cases up to 6,739 cases. So these are also hotspots. It's not just New York and New Jersey. And these are developing hotspots. So if we're saying this is going to go away in 2 weeks, we really have to look at all the data very carefully and say, is that realistic? Because the corona problem is going to be with us for quite some time, actually. We don't have a vaccine, and we don't really have what we know as effective treatments that are proven at this point in time. So we're going to have to be more careful with how we think about how we're going to manage things in society, and think very carefully about that. So let's look at the next chart. As we look at April 7th, for example, we can see that the California cases have now jumped all the way to 17,000. Florida has jumped up to 14,500. We now see Louisiana at 16,235. You've got Michigan and Massachusetts both jumping up, 14,000, 15,000 on actually Massachusetts. And then we've got Michigan all the way up to 18,000 cases. Then you see Pennsylvania, Texas, and Washington State. Now, if you think about what happened in the first chart we saw from 3 weeks ago, Washington State had a higher hotspot spike, but they've been practicing social distancing. So when we look at this last chart, the third chart, which is the most recent, we can see that actually Washington State is more under control at this point in time. So it's very important to not get ahead of ourselves. What we see from the Trump administration normally is they try to paint the rosy picture. Well, that's very dangerous, because when you paint that rosy picture, people feel more relaxed and they go out and they don't social distance and they do more things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And if 50% of the people are doing that, based on what we talked about in the R0 number, the spread capacity that is exponential, then if 50% of the population doesn't practice that, we will continue to have a virulent spread. So take a look at these hotspot states that we're talking about right now. In all of these cases, even though some of them are better contained than others, because they're practicing social distancing, we do see that the virus is continuing to spread, and it's practically doubling every week or more. So we have to be very careful with our assessment on that. Let's not jump to any conclusions before the data can give us some really good guidance. My name is John Reisman, and this is Centrist News and Perspectives.